Hello there again. I've been I've been paying attention to the stuff that's been going on. I've been going back reading some older news stories out the end last month into this month and everything. It's kind of upset me because I just can't see how people can be thinking. It doesn't seem to me like there are any actual citizens of the United States left. That whole thing about securing liberty, the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, that's in the preamble to the Constitution, seems like it's just gone. I don't think people know what liberty is anymore. I'm sure they don't. Very few people want the responsibility that goes with liberty, that's for sure. It goes with the being able to choose what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and that kind of stuff. To choose how many kids you're going to have, to choose who your wife's going to be, all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody even understands any of that anymore. So it just kind of bothered me. I got to thinking about that. You know, that black man that died while a police officer was kneeling on his neck back there in Minnesota, that's a troublesome occurrence, to say the least. And after that happened, there's a shout came up from the whole country, it seems like, claiming systemic racism was the reason for it. And it sounds like everybody thought that was an intentional, cold-blooded murder of a model citizen in Minneapolis there. And all of a sudden within hours, there rose up these peaceful, in air quotes, demonstrations and protests and stuff across the nation. Well, they've lasted for weeks, and they've left a war zone of damages and destruction that's going to have to be paid by the various government facilities taxing the citizens to rebuild all that stuff. Well, I just was wondering, what does the constitutional republic, the representative government of we the people, have to say about all this? Well, as I thought about it, it has nothing to say about this, for the simple reason that government of we the people doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. But I got to wondering too, now doesn't this new empire of North America that everybody's all so head up about, that took the place of the 50 states, that Shangri-La that the socialists built between Canada and Mexico, doesn't that have some kind of a, with all the stuff that's going on, that Patriot Act, and national security, and all them homeland spy schemes that tracks all the people's movements and everything, doesn't that have some kind of a scoreboard among all that stuff that tells us how many people were victims of assault and battery, got mugged or bludgeoned or stabbed or all kinds of other stuff? Or how many kids, under the age of 11, say, were human trafficked or abused or murdered during, and how many preteen girls or teenage girls or women or young men were sexually assaulted or brutally raped or whatever on that day, that 25th of May 2020. I don't know, I have to think about this. Aren't those all acts of criminal terrorism? I know when them people are being assaulted or murdered, they're terrified. So that's got to be criminal terrorism. Now, the way the state media, used to be independent press, but now it's the state media, and progressive politicians, the way they're all propagandizing this systemic racism, I think, shouldn't all them acts of terrorism, all that stuff that's done to them kids and everything, all them women and men and whoever was shot and stuff on May the 25th of 2020, shouldn't they all be considered systemic racism? That'd take care of, we wouldn't have to, it'd eliminate any need for worrying about ethnic or cultural, sexual, or any other kind of types of prejudice. They just all systemic racism. Now, the entire societal epidemic of this, what they've been calling, from what I understand, color revolution. That same thing them Bolsheviks over there in Russia did back in 1917, back there sometime about that. All that stuff's taking place in the United States now. Actually, it's just one of them big double semi-trailer loads of about 80 ton of toxic Marxist, socialist, wet, ripe, feline feces. Pardon my grammar, but that's what it is. If the constitutional framework of the Union of States was still, as it should be, was still relevant and enforced, those problems could be handled on a local basis as needed. And the enemies of the various culture groups occupying landmass that's the United States and its territories, they could be controlled in an efficient, timely manner. That isn't the case, though. Not the way it should be. The corrupt North American empire is too huge and unwieldy to function efficiently. And it is so buried in foolish red tape, that bureaucratic stuff, it can't respond to local needs in any kind of a timely manner. Now, to further complicate matters, this empire is ruled by illicit royalty from that illegitimate capital city of the empire known as Washington, D.C. That's no longer a seat of government for the United States of America, the constitutional republic. No, that's the capital city of the empire now. And the royalists back there, all them people, them progressive socialists and stuff, they want to make that city a state. That just goes to show, it's just evidence of how complete and binding the corruption has been. Now, I know I shouldn't feel the way I do, but in spite of the assurances of all this autocratic propaganda, we'll call it, the Constitution is a toothless, senile document. That's all thanks to the purveyors of socialism. You might think it's great, but it ain't. It's took away your freedom, took away your liberty. Instead of a constitutional republic of 50 states, what we have is a genetically modified, crossbred, socialist version of the USSR, Hitler's Germany, and Castro's Cuba, with inferior chromosomes of each of them rolled all into one magnificent empire of North America. Oh, I still stand for the Constitution of the United States. I wish there was enough citizens that could stand up and make what should be real again. Bring us back to that idea that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's not law, that was the mission statement that had that in it. Now, the preamble of the Constitution had that thing about we went in and we come up with this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Well, the blessings of liberty are gone. We don't even have them. Our posterity sure ain't going to have them. It's our fault. We've let it slip away. Think about it. And be good to each other.